Hey, nice of you to come back for more. We'll try to keep this lesson short and sweet. As I mentioned before, this product supports many different video output formats and has some really advanced control capabilities. But, as a wise man in red spandex once said, with great power comes great responsibility. To configure all your settings, of course. Let's talk about how to configure the AV Binloop Uncompressed. First, if you learn nothing else from this lesson, just remember that the front panel menu is your friend. Pretty much all of the important settings of your bin loop can be viewed and changed here. To access it, simply press the knob located below the display. This will enter the menu system where you can browse by rotating the knob and pushing to select. Although you can change many settings in these menus, network configuration is the first place I would start, simply because everything else can be configured remotely once you put the bin loop on a network. Another thing that's commonly configured here is the video outputs. Before you do this, it's incredibly helpful to know the native resolution of your display devices and the frame rate of your content. This allows you to maintain that native resolution and frame rate, which always provides the best quality video. There are two settings involved with properly configuring this. The first is the video output format of the bin loop. This determines the frame rate clock used for the entire bin loop frame. For example, if you intend to play 60 frame per second content, NTSC 3060 would be the proper mode. Next, we can configure the video output mode of each reproducer. For example, if you are playing 1080p 60 video content to a 1080p display, you would want to select 1080p 60. If you are outputting larger resolutions like Ultra HD or 4K, you have to think of each reproducer as only a quadrant of the entire video output. In other words, to achieve Ultra HD output, you would configure 4 reproducers for 1080p 60. To achieve 4K, you would configure 4 reproducers for 2K 60. Make sense? Once you've set up the video formats, it's always a good idea to test it with your display device. Most display devices will provide some kind of visual indication of the video format they are receiving, which is awesome for inspiring confidence. Just for good measure, this is a great time to try using the test button to play one of our test clips. Before we go any further, most wise and rational people pair up the bin loop with the best show controller in the industry, the Alcorn McBride V16X, of course. This allows you to configure most settings directly through our show control interface. There are numerous advantages to this, like giving the show control programmer the freedom to tweak settings as needed as the attraction is being installed. It also keeps the settings in a safe, central location, which comes in handy when new bin loops are added to the system or replaced. Let's do a quick walkthrough to show how this works. Hey there. Now, what we're going to do first is launch WinScript Live. Come on now, don't be shy. That's it. Yeah. There it is. Beautiful. Just look at those gorgeous curvy icons just begging to be clicked. Sorry. I didn't mean to go all sexy software demo voice on you. What can I say? Show control has that effect on me sometimes. Don't act like you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, let's get to it. We're going to go ahead and create a new script for the V16X. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is add the bin loop to the device list so that we can actually send commands to it. Just going to call it bin loop. And it is made by my favorite manufacturer, Alcorn McBride Inc., AV Binloop Uncompressed. Next, we just tell the V16X how to communicate with the bin loop over Ethernet. And the IP address is 192.168.1.202. There we go. Now, it's pretty common to have an initialization sequence in your script, so I might do something a little like this. Have a sequence that automatically launches on power up and initializes some things. So In this example, the thing I want to initialize is the bin loop. Now remember the application I showed you earlier in a previous lesson where we had 3 LCD panels together? Grouping is a handy configuration tool for doing that. So let me show you how we can actually group those 3 channels together so we can play them together. So I would do this using the assign group event. Let's go ahead and add one here. Assign group. Okay, we want to assign all these to group 1 or G1. And you do this one reproducer at a time. So I'm going to start with reproducer 1. Just like so. And I want to do this with 3 reproducers, so I'm just going to copy and paste for R2 and R3. Okay. Assign group 1. Okay. Another thing I might do in here is set those video output formats I mentioned, just to be safe. So that would look similar. I could do this one channel at a time. The event is called set HD video format. And these are the formats that we have to choose from. I'm going to set it to 1080p 60. And again, this uses the R nomenclature here, so reproducer 1. And I might copy again for reproducer 2 and 3. Pretty simple, right? Now you might have some other settings that you want to set up, so just keep in mind that all of these are at your disposal here. So we'll cover some of these later as far as playback commands are concerned, but adjusting the SMPTE generator reader, HD video formats, there's all kinds of good stuff in here that you can mess with. So, and remember that you can always use the event editor to see nice little descriptions of each of these events so you know what they do. Okay? Well, that about wraps it up. See? Short and loaded with sweetness. Just like I promised. We'll see you guys in the next lesson.